Today's episode is brought to you by the Positively Productive Toolkit, a collection of workbooks that guide you through self discovery and self awareness. These self guided workbooks, which include links to assessments, can be completed in minutes. Request this free resource and others at the positivelyproductive.com/resources page. Welcome to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa, and today we're getting emotional. Sort of. I will admit we've had some tender topics on the podcast where I have gotten very emotional. And one of the reasons why we dig into these conversations is because it's essential to honor our real lives and human experiences while trying to live our best productive lives. What we talk about here is about positively living, not just being positively productive. It's my goal to be trauma-informed and grief-informed, and to talk about things like our emotions. But that may leave you wondering, what does this have to do with productivity? I'm so glad you asked. Please indulge me as I answer a question with a question. Have you ever had a day where you crossed off tons of things on your to-do list? Emails were answered, errands were run, boxes were checked. But at the end of the day, you still felt unsatisfied? Like you did a lot, but accomplished nothing that really mattered when it came down to it. Now, we've talked about that on the podcast in terms of being busy versus productive, and it's a really important distinction to make. It can happen when we're caught up in a particular goal of productivity, which I want to dig into today. Now, let me ask you this as well. On the flip side, have you had days where you didn't really get that much done on paper? But if we're being honest, you didn't mind because you felt accomplished and satisfied. It was a good day. Well, maybe you connected with someone you loved or worked on a project that really lights you up and it's moving you closer toward a dream you have. Or you simply rested and reset yourself. Or maybe you reset your space with some cleaning and decluttering. You know, I'm a huge fan of that. Despite not checking things off your usual list or checking things off of the list that most people might expect you to have, those days still feel deeply productive, again, if we're being honest, in a completely different way. So answering why that is the answer to the question, what does this have to do with productivity? Here's the answer: because there are two types of productivity at play. We often think of productivity in one particular way and as one thing, but consider two categories: functional productivity and emotional productivity. Today, we'll explore both and honor how each serves us and how, most importantly, the combination of the two helps us get things done in a way that feels good and is sustainable. Let's talk about the distinction between functional and emotional productivity. Functional productivity is the version most of us are taught, and it's what you think of when you think of productivity. It's the checklists, the tasks, the things we can measure and see. It's easy to monitor, and companies love it because they can track it. ROIs are important, so you need to be able to see what's happening. You need proof that something is done, something is of value. Anything trackable means you can determine that value clearly, and I can understand the appeal. And the same goes for you, okay? When you have a straightforward task to complete, like feeding the dog, or doing the laundry, or finishing a work project, or writing and recording a podcast episode, you can check off a box when it's done and identify achievement readily. That feels really good. As a matter of fact, checking off boxes, that's a dopamine hit we all love. I get it. Emotional productivity, on the other hand, is about how you feel about what you've accomplished. When you complete a task, does it feel like an achievement? Are you fulfilled? It's about identifying the meaning of what you do. Now, it's less visible, but it's deeply important. Emotional productivity is why you can work all day and feel empty, or do less on paper, fewer things checked off, but yet still feel deeply satisfied somehow. Both types of productivity are valid. Both are necessary. Functional productivity keeps things going, helps you get stuff done, and get stuff done that you need to keep the wheels turning and to keep the world going around. Emotional productivity tends to your heart and keeps that involved in the process so that the work you're doing actually feels worthwhile. And that in turn drives you forward. That's what makes it sustainable and satisfying. So there's a reason why we undervalue emotional productivity. While we may understand these concepts intrinsically, culturally, we've been taught to overvalue reason and undervalue emotion. We're fans of logic and science, and I get it, I am. But emotions can sometimes be seen as a liability. I'm sure you've heard people make comments about being too emotional to achieve something. We see one as positive and one as negative, and we're not understanding the multiple sides and the multiple benefits of each, as well as the challenges of each too, if we're being fair. The discussion jumbles a lot of aspects of feelings and emotions, and unfortunately, that mindset and that teaching, that we grow up with this, and everywhere we turn, we're hearing these stories. It creates a mindset that has distorted our understanding of productivity. We end up emphasizing things like output, efficiency, and deliverables. Again, what we can measure. And dismissing the very things that keep us engaged and resilient, like rest, play, creativity, connection, pride, excitement, growth, and so much more. The irony, those perceived non-productive activities we so readily dismiss are actually what help us sustain our productivity overall. Those are the things that recharge our energy and our motivation. So when you take a walk, play music, or journal, or nap, you're not wasting time. That self-care fuels functional productivity. And it fuels you, which is so very important overall. And when you take time on a creative endeavor, you fill your days with a mix of tasks, some of which can't really be measured. It's that intangible feeling of satisfaction that helps you get through the day and get up and start again tomorrow. There are so many benefits to emotional productivity. When you allow space for it in your life, here's what happens. You stay more engaged and present in your work. You prevent burnout by pacing yourself and respecting your energy. You make better decisions because you're not running on empty. You make fewer mistakes for that matter. You create balance and harmony between achievement and fulfillment. You build resilience, which makes it easier to come back again and again. And you bring energy, positive, good, healthy energy to everything you do, which means the less meaningful tasks are tended to better as well. It's a win-win. Now, to be clear, this isn't just about feeling good, though that's important too. And it's why we talk about self-care so much. What we're talking about here is building a life that has both momentum and meaning. When you are ready to honor the emotional productivity side, which really is you, okay, here are a few ideas for you to try. One is to pause and reflect. I know, how many times have you heard that, right? So if you're pausing and reflecting for other conversations that we've had, it'll work for this too. Now, here's what you want to do. Check in with yourself during the day. When you go to tackle the next task, just ask yourself, how do I feel about what I'm doing right now? Make a note of it. It's okay if it's not great. It's okay if you feel really fulfilled. But making a note of it is the best way that you're able to see where the balance is in your day, or maybe the imbalance is. You can learn more about what's energy giving and what's energy draining, and then you're able to adjust accordingly. The second thing you want to do is look to intentionally mix functional with emotional. As you do your schedule and you're planning things and you're prioritizing, which we just talked about last week, Find ways to pair up tasks that are both measurable, like folding laundry, with one that's fulfilling, like listening to an inspiring podcast, hint, hint, or listening to music that makes your heart soar or that you're challenging yourself to learn, or calling a friend. There's great ways to tether tasks together where you get the benefits of both and they both benefit each other. And as a bonus, it makes the time go by much faster. Third thing you can do is to celebrate meaning, not just metrics. And that's really what we're talking about today overall. When you create your checklists, and I encourage you to do that because I think they're fabulous, consider more than what got done. And just as we talk about celebrating effort when it comes to creating habits, consider celebrating what feels satisfying. And if you need to, add that to your checklist. Did you have a good day? Did you do one thing that moves you closer to a dream that you have? Or did you do something that was fun for you? I have, as part of my checklist for the day, making sure that I touch upon music somehow each and every day. And it does so many things for me. It is so healing and it is so encouraging and it's so energy giving. It's life giving. So I make sure that I address it each and every day. And there are some days when it feels like I barely have the time to do it, but I make sure it's on my list, even if it's 5 minutes. And that's the idea here. You're celebrating the meaning, not just the metrics, but if you need to, make the metrics work toward your meaning. And the fourth thing I want to suggest is protecting your energy. And I've said this before, and I will say it again. The energy drain that comes from hustle culture, especially when we do that while ignoring self-care, and when we focus purely on the functional side, that is a recipe for burnout. Protecting your energy is essential. Now, sometimes it's about keeping the energy draining tasks limited, protecting through boundaries, right? And through being careful of the commitments you choose, all of that. That's a great way to protect your energy. But part of protecting your energy or keeping your energy elevated is also what boosts it. So sometimes it's about finding the things that are energy giving and making sure you're doing those things. I understand that we are not always in a position to honor this idea of the meaningful live your dream side as much as we'd like. This is especially true as caregivers and creatives, and when we have so much happening in our lives, and there's still a lot of meaningful work to do, but it's meaningful in a different way, maybe not directly to us. I know there's a lot to life. And during my caregiving years, I experienced this in full force. I focused almost exclusively on functional productivity. I was keeping the house running, handling the tasks, helping my kids thrive as much as I was able to, trying to give my mom her best golden years. I was getting it done, but emotionally I was drained. I didn't allow enough for rest, joy, and connection, and I didn't focus on them and treat them as if they were essential. And I felt like I couldn't. So I get that it can be really challenging. Conceptually, something would be a good thing to do, but applying it to your real life can be a challenge. Now, I did feel satisfaction in caring for those I love, and for the work that I did, it was very meaningful, but I needed more. Guilt plays a tough role in allowing for emotional productivity to flourish. To do what's meaningful and good for you can feel like it competes with what's meaningful for others and what's meaningful for your life and your legacy, and with the get stuff done in order to be valued mindset that we live with. It's not always easy letting myself pause, process, and pursue what matters to me. Even now, even years away, and so many experiences and so much knowledge away from those roles, I still feel this way. I still have to work through it. It's not always easy, but every time I do the things that matter to me, that I elevate that emotional productivity side, my overall productivity doesn't just improve. I thrive. I show up differently. So again, it's a win-win because the functional side of my productivity benefits from it as well. I'm living and thriving, not just managing and surviving. I'm going to leave you with a gentle challenge for today, which is before you check off your next task on your list, pause for just a moment and ask, will this matter to me when it gets done? And see what your answer is. There's no right or wrong answer. And the tasks still need to be done, but that awareness, what that answer is that you give to yourself honestly, that can shift everything going forward. As we close this episode today, may I ask you a favor? This podcast is a wonderful example of work that is incredibly meaningful to me. It's a lot of work, but it absolutely touches upon the emotional productivity side of my life. And one of the best ways to honor how meaningful it is to ensure that it gets into the hands and ears of those who need it most. If this episode resonated with you or other episodes have resonated with you, would you please share them with a friend if you want to just send it privately or on your social media if you're willing to post? And would you hop online and leave a quick review? You can review on Apple Podcasts. You can also rate on Spotify as well. Or you can simply post somewhere and let me know what you think about the show. Those reviews that you put out there help others who come across the podcast and show them that they can trust that it's worth their time. If you'd like to explore today's topic a bit more or catch related episodes, be sure to check out the podcast page of the positivelyproductive.com website. There's a trauma and grief episode playlist and a self-care playlist that complement today's topics really well. Plus, you can also type any keywords that you want into the keyword search bar, and it will pull up all different kinds of episodes relating to those words. As with all of our conversations here, I want to keep reminding you that productivity isn't just about what you do. It's about how you feel while you do it. It's about you. If you want to keep getting things done without burning out, you need both functional and emotional productivity working together. Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious, and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. If you have feedback or questions, you can find me through the Connect page of the positivelyproductive.com website. And if you're looking for any of the resources mentioned here, from books to products to training and more, go to positivelyproductive.com/resources.